The war did not begin with fire or thunder. It began with silence. In the year 2149, silence was the most terrifying sound a human could hear. It meant the orbital sensors had gone dark, the long-range arrays blinded, and the defense grid cut off from command. Silence meant the Virex Dominion had arrived. I was on the outer ring of Helios Station when it happened, floating in the maintenance cradle with my helmet lights sweeping over scorched alloy. The stars beyond the viewport flickered once, like dying embers, and then the calm in my ear went dead. No chatter. No orders. Just my own breathing, loud and uneven. Control? I said, tapping the side of my helmet. Helios Control, do you read? Nothing. I knew the signs. Every soldier did. The Virex didn't announce themselves. They erased you first, your eyes, your ears, your certainty, then they moved in. I was a combat engineer, not a hero. My job was to keep things running while braver people did the fighting. But when the station's emergency lights flared red and the first explosions rippled through the hull, bravery stopped being optional. I kicked free of the cradle and pushed off toward the nearest access hatch. The station shuddered as something massive slammed into its outer armor. Artificial gravity faltered, then returned at half strength, sending tools and debris drifting like metallic snow. Inside the corridor, chaos ruled. Crew members ran past me, some armed, some bleeding, some screaming names into dead comms. Overhead panels sparked, and the floor vibrated with distant impacts. Then the Virex came through the walls. They didn't look like the monsters from propaganda vids. No slavering jaws or glowing eyes. They were tall, slender, almost elegant, their bodies wrapped in segmented armor that flowed like liquid metal. Their weapons hummed instead of roared, beams of pale energy cutting through bulkheads and bodies with equal ease. I ducked behind a support pillar as a security team opened fire. Human weapons barely slowed the Virex advance. Energy shields flared, dispersing bullets and plasma alike. Within seconds, the corridor was littered with fallen soldiers. I ran. I didn't know where I was going, only away. My boots pounded against the deck as alarms wailed, and the station died piece by piece around me. Somewhere above, the reactor core went into containment breach. Somewhere below, civilians were being slaughtered. I reached the auxiliary hangar just as the blast doors began to close. I slid under them, skinning my shoulder, and rolled to my feet inside a cavernous space filled with smoke and flickering lights. Half a dozen small craft lay in ruins, their hulls torn open like tin cans. I thought I was alone. Then a shot cracked past my head, scorching the wall behind me. I spun, raising my rifle, and froze. She stood near the far end of the hangar, framed by fire and wreckage. A Virex warrior, taller than the others I'd seen, her armor etched with intricate symbols that pulsed faintly with blue light. She held her weapon steady, aimed straight at my chest. For a moment, we simply stared at each other. This was it, I thought. This is how I die. Not saving anyone. Not making a difference. Just another body in a lost war. Her finger didn't tighten on the trigger. Instead, her head tilted slightly, as if she were listening to something I couldn't hear. The symbols on her armor flickered erratically. Then, slowly, she lowered her weapon. My heart hammered. Every instinct screamed at me to fire, to take the shot while I could. But something in her posture, hesitation, uncertainty, held me back. The hangar shook violently as another explosion tore through the station. A support beam snapped, crashing down between us, sending a wave of heat and debris rolling across the deck. I was thrown off my feet, my rifle skidding out of reach. When I looked up, she was closer. Too close. Her armor bore fresh scorch marks now, one shoulder cracked and sparking. She moved stiffly, favoring one side. She wasn't invincible. She was wounded. She reached out. I flinched, raising my arm to shield my face. But her hand didn't strike. It brushed my wrist instead, light and careful. The touch sent a strange sensation through me, like static, like 1,000 whispered voices brushing against my thoughts. Images flooded my mind. Stars I had never seen. Cities grown from crystal and light. A world dying under a red sky. Virex children huddled in shelters as bombs fell. A council chamber filled with fear and rage. The decision to invade humanity not out of hatred, but desperation. I gasped, collapsing to my knees. The images didn't stop. They shifted, focusing, narrowing, until I saw her. Not as a warrior, but as a scientist. A xenobiologist. Her name echoed in my thoughts, unpronounceable in human language, but heavy with meaning. She had opposed the invasion, had warned that humanity was not the enemy, that cooperation, not conquest, was the only path to survival. She had been overruled. The visions ended as abruptly as they had begun. I looked up at her, my chest heaving, my understanding shattered. "You're not supposed to be here," I whispered. Her eyes, deep, faceted, almost luminous, met mine. She withdrew her hand slowly, as if afraid I might recoil. "You are not as we were told." A voice resonated inside my mind. Not sound, but thought. "You are not blind." Before I could respond, the hangar doors exploded inward. Virex shock troops poured in, weapons blazing. Human Marines followed from another entrance, caught in a deadly crossfire. She turned toward the newcomers, then back to me. "They will kill you," she said simply. "And they will kill me." I scrambled to my feet, grabbing my rifle. "Then we move." For a heartbeat, she hesitated. Then she nodded. We ran together through fire and smoke, an impossible alliance forged in the heart of destruction. She deflected incoming fire with her shields while I covered her blind spots. My shots finding gaps in Virex armor I never would have known existed if not for the lingering echoes of her thoughts and mine. We fought our way to the station's core, where the last evacuation ships were preparing to launch. The Dominion forces were already there, surrounding the control chamber. "There is a failsafe," she told me as we took cover behind a shattered console. "A signal I can send. It will reach my people. It will expose the truth of this war." "What's the catch?" I asked. Her gaze softened. "They will know it was me. I will not survive." I swallowed. "There has to be another way." "There is not." She placed a hand over the core interface. "But you must live. You must tell them, your leaders, that peace is still possible." The chamber doors burst open. Weapons fire filled the air. I felt the impact as a beam tore through my side, pain blooming hot and white. I fell, vision blurring. Through the haze, I saw her stand tall, armor blazing with light as she transmitted the signal. Virex warriors hesitated, confusion rippling through their ranks as the truth hit them all at once. Then they fired. She staggered, struck again and again, but she did not fall until the signal was complete. As she collapsed, she turned toward me one last time. She reached for me, not in fear, not in desperation, in trust. Her fingers brushed mine as the world went dark. I woke up in a hospital bed orbiting Earth. The war was over. The Virex Dominion had withdrawn within hours of the transmission. Their fleets vanished from human space, leaving behind wreckage and questions. Diplomatic envoys arrived weeks later, carrying offers of ceasefire and cooperation. They called her a traitor among her people, a martyr among mine. They asked me what she had shown me, what she had said. I told them everything. Years have passed since Helios Station fell. A joint human-Virex research facility now orbits the same star, a symbol of what was lost and what was saved. Sometimes, when I stand at the viewport and watch the stars, I feel that familiar static brush against my thoughts. I like to believe it's her, because she didn't just reach for me in the battle. She reached across 2 species, 2 histories, and changed the course of everything that came after.